What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Millsy, back with Hometown Commander, back for another episode of Millsy Brews, the show where I brew my version 1.0 deck lists to the commanders in front of us out of my quest to brew the magic world. You know the motto, baby, ABB, always be brewing, and that's what we're back to do today. The deck list is going to be down in the description for you below, as well as I'd really appreciate if you could interact with the video, like, comment, subscribe, consider doing all that YouTube stuff. But today, we're working our way through Transformers Week, looking at Transformers popular and not popular from that little subset. And today we're taking a look at Goldbug, humanity's ally. A 3-mana Azorius robot that can come in on the backside for 2 mana. On the front side, it says prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to attacking humans you control. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, we get to convert Goldbug. And on the backside, it says human spells we control can't be countered. And whenever Goldbug and at least one other human attack, we draw a card and flip it back over. So the front side cares about attacking, protecting those humans in combat. The backside lets you get your humans to be uncounterable and then, flip back over, hopefully to keep protecting them. I think Goldbug's a fun idea for a humans commander. I mean, the humans are so good at some of the stuff they can do. We got lots of counters and attacking matters, enchantments for us to buff our team with. And then we're in white, so we've got lots of board white protection for our humans as we just hopefully build our human horde, right? And our humans army to attack our opponents. I want to say a quick thank you to the channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me. For just $1 a month, you can see all our videos early. If you're interested in that, check it out down below the video. But what humans do we have? The truth is, in a color like white, we have a very long history of humans that we have access to. Things like Adeline is great because she makes a lot of humans every turn, making one attacking each of our opponents. Our type of courage gives all of our creatures first strike, and our opponent's creatures can't have or gain first strike. Baragon, whenever it or another human comes in, all of our creatures get +1/+1 in vigilance till the turn. Great thing to pair with Adeline for that nice buff on those attacks. And vigilance is always great because then you can block as well. Coppercoat Vanguard, giving out Ward 1 and +1/+0 to all of our humans. Of course, Goldbug's not a human, so it's not going to get the buff, but everything else will. Faramir, Prince of Illithin, says at the beginning of our end step, we can choose an opponent. Beginning of that player's next end step, we can draw a card if they didn't attack us. Otherwise, we get 3 humans if they did. A great ability. It can be really used to help to get more humans on the board. And then one of the most expensive cards in our deck and a great humans commander in its own right, Greymond Avacyn Stalwart, a 4-mana 3/4. It says when it comes into the battlefield, we get to choose 2 abilities that we'd like from First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink. All of our humans have those abilities, and as long as we have 4 more humans, they also get +2/+2. A great swath of abilities, depending on what you want to do. First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink, so many great abilities to choose from right there. It can lead to a huge board of humans. Intrepid Adversary is 2 mana, but when it comes in, we can pay 2 mana a number of times. When we do, we get that many Valor counters on it, and everybody gets +1/+1 for each Valor counter on Intrepid Adversary. Makes it a fun card mid to late game because you can just put a ton of mana into it and make a big buff. Lost on our Captain, whenever it or another human comes in, we get to tap down an opponent's creature. And then at the start of our upkeep, we get a human. Minas Tirith Garrison is a star 5 where star's the number of cards in our hand. And whenever it attacks, we can tap any number of untapped humans we control, and we draw a card for each human tap this way. This is really fun if your creatures have vigilance, because it means you can potentially draw some cards that way, or for a card like Virtual Loyalty, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that untaps all your creatures anyway, you can tap them to just start drawing, right? Odric has the fun ability that whenever it and at least 3 other creatures attack, we get to choose which creatures block this combat and how they block, leading to some nice unblockable fun. Thalia having our opponent's creatures and non-basic lands come in tapped and having a great body of stats for it. And then Horde of Gondor comes in and makes a token, and for 3 mana, we basically just get double the amount of humans we have, making a bunch of tokens. Again, great when we're going to talk about enchantments that care about when things enter the battlefield or having humans on our side. But how are we going to protect our board? Well, there's a lot of ways. Things like Clever Concealment can have all of our any number of non-land permanents we want phase out. Great way to protect ourselves from things like Exile board wipes. Dawn's Truce can just give all of our permanents indestructible, which is a great way to get around regular board wipes. Chroma's Will is both a protection piece and an Alpha Strike card, because if we have our commander, we can choose both, but otherwise we get our choice of either Flying Vigilance or Double Strike, or lifelink, indestructible, and protection from all colors. If we have Goldbug out, we can do all of them and just lead to a huge alpha attack on our opponents. Thorough Fortitude and Flawless Maneuver both have the option to potentially be cast for nothing to protect our board. And then Unbreakable Formation does give all of our creatures indestructible, but if we choose to cast it on our turn during our main phase, we give all of our humans a counter and vigilance as well. Nice way to get aggressive with it, especially if we're attacking into boards where they would be trading in anyway. But I think the real way we win this game, like you win this game with a lot of tribal decks that want to go wide and attack, is buffing our creatures. You know, you have things like Patchwork Banner that's just going to give them a flat plus and +1. Banner of Kinships in the deck. When it comes in, you get to choose a creature type, and you put a counter on it for each creature that type we control. And creatures that we control, the chosen type, get plus and +1 for each counter on it for the rest of the game. Great idea with Kinship to get it in when you can, when you have the most. That way, even if you get board wiped, every human that then's coming in is getting more of that buff. Of course, we got to play the classic Cathar's Crusade. Every time a creature comes in, put a counter on each creature control. It can get out of hand really quickly, especially with something like Adeline. Flowering with the White Tree, giving a base +1/+1 to non-legendary creatures, but legendary creatures get an extra power in Ward 1. Nice way to protect our board just that little bit. Sanctuary Lockdown gives all of our humans +1/+1, and then we can pay 2 and tap 2 untap humans to tap an opponent's creature down. Maybe a key creature that needs to block, or a key creature that may need to attack us. And then Virtual Loyalty, the big one that we care about with some of our other abilities that care about tapping things down. At the end of our end step, we can put a counter each creature we control and untap them. So really nice for these tap abilities, because then they just get to untap anyway. And if they attacked, right, they get to untap, leading to just some real fun with getting counters on our creatures and getting them into combat. But I've said it before on the show, and I'll say it again. No deck's ever complete. This is my version 1.0 shot at Goldbug. I think we're playing a fairly basic humans tribal deck, but as we get into testing, it's just finding more ways to protect our humans, finding more ways to make them cheaper. I didn't find a slot for Pearl Medallion, but I think it makes sense since most of our humans are white, so it's going to come in and reduce them. I'm playing a couple counter spells, but of course there's always room for more. So I think something like Protect the Negotiators could be fun. 2 mana to counter a spell unless its controller pays 1 for each creature you control, and you can add an extra mana to get a soldier out of it. Soldier isn't a human, but hey, you know, it's fun to potentially have a fun counter spell like that. Reflector Mage gets to bounce something and that person can't recast it the next turn. Great to get somebody's commander back to their hand, or a key creature they need for a certain ability, you know, just to blank them by an extra turn. There's a lot of things going into testing. It would just be, are we buffing enough? If we're not, find some more ways to buff. Do we have enough humans? If not, find some more things that make humans. I think this archetype is fairly basic. It's just trying to find the pieces to add in to make it better for us. But let's get into our playtest. Remember, the goal of playtests here on the channel is not to find Magical Christmas Land. It's not to determine our best plays, but it's to get into some game scenarios, run through the first few turns of the deck, and understand how we're going to do what we're supposed to do. Here we're keeping a 3-lander with that Unbreakable Formation, Keeper of the Accord, which can make us a soldier if somebody has more creatures than us. It can get us a land if somebody has more lands than us, and then Stroke of Midnight. So on turn 1, I think I'm kind of looking to get Goldbug. Right down on turn 2, we draw Sky Strike Officer, which is a 2/3 with flying. This is whenever it attacks, you make a soldier token, and you can untap 3 soldiers, draw a card. The reason this is in here, there's a lot of humans that are also soldiers, and so I felt like it was probably worth paying attention to it. So here I think we just get Goldbug in on the backside, making them uncounterable, so at least that way we can start getting some more pieces out. We drew Banalish Marshal, gives all of our creatures a buff, and then Yoshin Tactician, which can buff all of our soldiers. We're starting to build up a nice board here. We'll play the Banalish Marshal just in case Goldbug wants to attack there. And then here, I mean, I like the idea of the Keeper. I think you could make the argument for Yoshin, but I think I'd probably just do the Sky Strike Officer, leave up something like Sword of Plowshares. And then if we want Goldbug to attack, we could have it in Banalish Marshal attack and then draw a card. The only thing, remember, is that then Goldbug's not going to get that protection, but I don't think we really mind because we get the damage prevented to Banalish Marshal. And we draw Grand Arbiter Augustin, a commander's own right. Mainly it's just here to make our spells cost a little bit cheaper and have our opponent's spells cost a little bit more. And we leave up the Swords, Plowshares. Here we see Thalia, Garden of Thraben, the other Thalia, having all non-creature spells cost just a little bit more. So we're only at 4 mana, so we kind of think of what makes the most sense. I mean, Augustin seems fun to keep reducing our things. Thalia seems fun, but there's nothing we can pay alongside Thalia to really get us much success, right? So I think it's Augustin, and again, I can't play a second spell to get Goldbug back over. But these guys could still attack. They're still getting damage prevented, right, until somebody gets rid of Goldbug. My thought coming back to our turn is now everything's reduced by 1. So now we just got that Greymond, and we can get that Thalia to turn Goldbug back over. And then we don't want to turn it back over, right? But we have to. We can flip it back over once it attacks. I'd probably just pick First Strike and Lifelink because there's kind of no reason not to just keep getting this life. I like the Vigilance, but the truth is I don't really care. They all are going to get the buff. These guys can go ahead and attack. Goldbug flips back over and draws us a card. We're getting a lot of life here. We could pick up one of our lands with the Chancery just to get an extra mana down. Our opponents are getting taxed with the Augustin, so unless they could draw the board, right? We're back to our turn with 6 mana. Play the formation, I'm thinking. Hold up mana for Plowshares. Remember, everything costs 1 more, but it's also 1 less because of the Arbiter. So we would still be able to play either of these guys, but play the formation and just take another big attack this turn. First Strike, Lifelink, we're getting a ton of life back. We're potentially dealing some big damage and hurting our opponents. But let's get into playtest number 2. Again, I think we kind of got there on that one. A 2-lander with Lockdown, Formation, Mass Appeal, Siege Veteran, and Gondor. Kind of a risky hand because we need that 3rd land. Well, let's get into it, of course. There it is. Top deck on the tap land, so we'll play that one first. Kind of awkward with the Port Town because now it's got to come in tapped. But I don't think we're doing anything this turn anyway, so I think we're just going to get it in tapped. I guess we could have gone for Goldbug there on the backside. My thought now here is Horn of Gondor, I guess, to get the human. Now on a future turn, right, we could start getting more back that way. Here, missing the land drop. I guess we get the Siege Veteran. Put a combat on itself. This is kind of an awkward one. We really would have loved to have seen a land there. Of course, we miss it again. I guess we could just get Goldbugging on the front side, but we can't double spell this turn if we do. Could do the Machias for a couple counters, build up counters on it, and have it start right tapping to hand counters out. Could be kind of fun. Nice, fun combo with Siege Veteran. This could come in as 2 counters at the start of combat. We could give the counter here, and then right every turn we could be passing out the counters. Jeez, just no lands this time around. I can get Goldbug in on the backside. I kind of think I got to do something like Mass Appeal here just to try to hit another land. There we go. We can hold up the path, but we still got to probably pitch something out this turn. Gets the Sky Strike. We can hold up the path, exile just in case. Tap Machias to put a counter on everything else. And then replace it with the Veteran. No land, but we do get a Dovin's Veto for some counterplay. Man, this is just brutal. We really would love card draw here, but we don't find it. And it's not like Goldbug doesn't mean much. I can get it in on the backside. I guess I could have got it in on the backside last turn. And then attacked and drew some cards. But it wasn't as much as the Mass Appeal, right? Which is why I kind of went down that road. My thought is kind of just to crack the Gondor, get 3 humans, take the counter off the Machias just to grow the board and put one back on it, take some attacks this turn. Again, just trying to find something to get some value on this board. Faramir might be a little slow here. Of course, we're just missing on it now. So I think we gotta put Goldbug in on the front side just to protect our board and just keep attacking. Hold up the path. Just attack at this point. I mean, just use the humans as our value. Take a counter off Machias, put a counter on everything. Put the counter back on Machias with Siege Veteran, and this one's getting kind of awkward because we missed out on a lot of the land drops, but that's just kind of how it is some games. I think if we had had one or two more lands, we could have seen Virtue and the banner get down. We could still potentially banner next turn. Nope. um, I think my mistake was probably not putting Goldbug in on the backside earlier so that I could help draw more and all that, but that's the point of the playtest, right? To learn, to understand where we're making our mistakes in our formatting and know how to fix it going forward. Here we're keeping a 3-lander with Talisman, Kindred Discovery for some draw, Lavinia. Really fun ability. Each opponent can't cast non-creature spells with mana value greater than the number of lands they control. Kind of an interesting ability. And then the Clever Concealment. So here, I think we just go Talisman. Thinking Goldbug on the backside. And then Lavinia, because it can't be countered, right? Just to get some value in this turn. Could go. My thought is Kindred Discovery here. I think Lost in Art could also make sense. Mirror Entity is not bad either. Play the Kindred Discovery. Attack. I get to draw a card, and then 2 cards for them attacking. And again, Goldbug would be the only real creature in threat because we prevent that damage to Lavinia. Lavinia also stops our opponents being able to cast free spells, which is nice. All right, 6 mana here. I like Distant Melody to draw. Thinking Lost in Art, tap something down, Cathar Commando to flip over. That draws me 2 because of Kindred Discovery. And then I don't know that I need to attack because mostly I don't know that I want to draw more cards at the moment. I think we kind of want to keep putting pieces down. If I don't play the Commando, I would still see Faramir, right? And I'd have 2 mana left. I think it's still the Commando either way. Which would turn this over. And then I could still attack with Lavinia. I just wouldn't flip the Goldbug, right? Because it has to attack in order to do it. And my thought there is we still get to draw off the attack, which would be the Virtue. Now this turn at 6, I think we'd have to pitch one last turn. We'll pitch the island. Now here at 7 mana, I like the Virtue. I like this for the first strike. We're just going to draw a ton of cards here, right? Because of the Kindred Discovery. So my thought is the Virtue, leave the 2 mana for the Plowshares, attack, Goldbug flips over, draws us a card. We draw 3 off the Kindred Discovery. And we're getting some nice attacks here. And I've got 3 mana left just to get that courage in. Again, we got to draw again. This is going to lead to us pitching some cards. But I think it's fine because I think we're overall doing what we need to do. We still have Clever Concealment. It's up because they all, right, get counters at the end step and untap. So we've got the Clever up to protect the board. And now it's just a matter of getting more pieces in. I think next turn we just banner, right? And we're in great shape. They're untapping. They attack with first strike, right? They're going to stay pretty safe in combat. And I think we're in a really nice position. But let me know, what do you think of Goldbug? Do you think that if you were to pick another commander for Azorius humans, who would you pick? I don't know that I'd pick Goldbug, but I think this is a fun idea to see. I'm really partial to like Eowyn from Lord of the Rings going up into Jeskai for the humans and just getting some of that red-white support as well. But I'd love to know what you think of Goldbug, and I will catch you on the next one.